What's up, everybody? I'm back. Another game review. I literally just completed, like a few minutes ago, just completed Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham for the PlayStation 4. And I know the game's like 8 years old at this point. I got it like a long time ago. I just never really got a chance, never really got an interest in starting it, never got a chance to start it. I did want it to be a playthrough a few years ago, but that never came to fruition. I just got bored with it. But I thought I'd boot it back up, and I played through the whole thing and talk about it. So I only did the main story. Didn't really do a lot of the bonus stuff. Did a little bit of bonus stuff, but not a whole lot. But even then, I mean, it's 15 levels, so there's enough content in the game to cover it. It's not a long game, in relative terms at least, to compare to some other games that I've played on the channel, or played and then reviewed, or just played in general. But it has a lot of good content. And so I did notice one thing that I really enjoyed right off the bat throughout all the levels is the Adam West in Peril thing. And this came out before he died. But there are voiceovers of him, asking for help and stuff like that. And it's a nice little touchback to him when he was Batman. And I couldn't find all of the Adam West in Peril things, but I did find a few. I only completed one of them. There's only maybe a couple that you can do in the actual story. Many of them you have to have like characters that you can't have in the main story at that time. So you kind of need to go back through and do them in free play. A lot of the bat cases, a lot of those like bat mini kits, whatever, you kind of have to go get those in free play. I got no red bricks, only saw one of them, but wasn't able to get it because it was during a boss battle. So gold bricks I did okay with. Not really. Gold bricks you have to really go back and figure out as well. And then I think that was it for any of the bonus stuff. But yeah, you're not going to be able to get a lot of it. I mean, there was a couple things that I missed that were pretty easy to get. But there's a lot of gold bricks, a lot of mini kits, a lot of red bricks, a lot of Adam West and Perils that I just could not find, or just weren't able to get. And that's actually a good thing, because it gives you an incentive. It gives you a reason to go back and play it in free play mode later on when you've unlocked all the characters and gone through all the levels. It still gives you a chance to explore some stuff in the game that you couldn't explore before. And while it might be a little bit frustrating for people who are trying to maybe beat a lot of stuff in the game, I personally think it's a great move on their part. And plus, who doesn't love hearing Adam West's voice? I mean, come on now, really. It's always nice to salute that guy, legend in the industry. And it's good that, even though it was again before he died, they paid homage to him, which was nice. But yeah, it's got a lot of replayability, which you can't say for every Lego game. You can't say for every game in general, but you can say it for this one. I don't know if I'll actually go back and do them all again. I got another game already slotted to start, plus I've got other stuff to do. So now, of course, it's a Lego game, right? But you're always gonna have that classic Lego humor, and it was on point here. The coffee mugs, the funny building stuff, and a lot of the goofs and stuff around some of like the boss captures and everything like that. That was really cool. That was really funny and really nice. There's a lot of cool, funny moments in there. A lot of the characters were very funny, and I think they were played very well. There was one character, however, that I did not enjoy, that really pissed me off about the second half of the game. And that was Flash. The Flash, he really pissed me off. I don't know if it's his like character trait to be really mine, like a little baby, but that's all he was throughout the entire game, right up until the end. And it would have been okay if maybe he was only in a couple levels or maybe 2 or 3 levels, but he was in like a good amount of the levels, and so it was constant throughout the whole thing. It was super repetitive. It really made me not like him. And it's like any other game. He's super fast. So you can't use him for stuff that you can use for other characters. So that made it a little bit annoying. He got his advantages, got his disadvantages. Really pissed me off though. Cutscene. It really just made me cringe and kind of brought down otherwise what would have been funny. Like, it's funny like the first couple times, but they also had a boss that had that had that same traits, and so you kind of just are playing on preconceived movements at this point. It was just unnecessary. I think they could have done something different for Flash. Again, I don't know if that's actually his character trait or not, but it was something that I did not enjoy. Also, the title of the game, in my opinion, is kind of misleading because the majority of the game, you really don't play as Batman. You play with him you play as him mostly in the beginning of the game and at the end of the game. The middle of the game is really when you're playing as a cyborg guy. He is very useful in the game. He has a lot of the similar suits and abilities like to Batman, but you're playing as him most of the time, along with like Flash and Robin. You play a good amount with. Not really much Joker. You play with Joker a little bit. Don't really play as Cheetah, except for once, which is fine. I don't like Cheetah. Solomon Grundy you play a lot with, especially at the end of the game. There was like some villains that you play with like for part of a level, and that's it. And it's kind of like, why are they even there? I mean, they're emphasized so heavily, like the Gator guy, Croc, I think his name is, or whatever. You spend a whole level trying to catch him, the opening level, and you get him, and then you do nothing with him. Like, seriously? It's like, why are you wasting your time on that? At least incorporate him a little bit in the game. Like, after like the second level or the third level, he's only in cutscenes. That's it. Solomon Grundy, though, you play with a lot. You play with Superman. Superman's a big part of the game, yet you don't really get to play as him as much. He's always he's the main guy, but he's kind of like off to the side. Like, he's in a lot of cutscenes, but he splits off from the rest of the group. You don't really get to play as him as much, like a couple levels only, which is fine. But again, it's a Lego Batman. It's not Lego DC heroes and villains or whatever. It's Lego Batman, and you don't really get to play as Batman that much. And I don't know. It's another game. I just finished playing Lego DC Supervillains. By the way, more playthroughs of those coming up. I got at least 3 more episodes of those coming up, so be on the lookout for that. But it's like that. I mean, where the heroes and the villains have to team up a little bit more, like more teaming up. Sure. I mean, it was having just played Lego DC Supervillains, I guess it was kind of repetitive. I don't think that it's going to be true for everybody, but it was a little annoying for me. But hey, they collaborated well, they clashed well. I can't be too mad about that. So there was another guy that they didn't really touch on at all. He was like, Lex Luthor impersonates him at the very beginning of the game to get into the offices, and then he's always in like stuck in the cellar the whole game. They talk about him at the end, and they get some funny humor. It's like, I really should have hoped they called my wife. That got me laughing. That was pretty funny. They don't really emphasize on him. There's a lot of characters that you play as, and there's a lot of different places that the characters go, and they switch costumes at one point. So you I got kind of mixed up there, and there's a lot to process, and there's a lot of characters, which there should be. And someone like Solomon Grundy and even Batman and Robin and even Superman, like they didn't focus on like Cheetah at all, like I already said. They didn't. So, maybe downsizing the characters, but again, there's a lot of characters to really focus on in the game. And so you really have to work through that. It was also kind of hard to define the main villain of the game for me. I was able to figure out it's Brainiac, obviously. But then you threw in like this like macho lacho guy. You got this big fire guy with the bull or whatever, and then you got this other guy that pops up randomly at some point in the game, and it's just kind of there at the end. Like, I feel like they could have developed those guys a little bit more. I know they developed Lacho Macho guy and Brainiac, but they didn't really get into the other people. That was a little annoying to me, but whatever. I think they just kind of threw him in there to throw him in there, because otherwise it'd be a little too easy. And the boss battles weren't hard. There's a lot of boss battles. There's one at the end of each level, and they weren't hard. Some of them were a little bit hard to figure out what to do, but once you figured that out, it was pretty simple after that. So I'm not saying the game is hard or anything. It's far from it, but a little confusing, I should say, to do. But overall, that was fun. And then there's a cool little like emotional moment there. I wouldn't say emotional, but like a psychology thing with Batman and his emotions and trying to break the curse of the spell of Brainiac, and then he does so. Then at the beginning of the game, very beginning of the game, when Batman gets controlled and Robin breaks the spell, and then Batman denies it, and then Batman uses that same thing to break Superman at the end of the game, and then he tie it back like, oh, this was actually what it was, and then woohoo, yay, we made up and stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool. It might sound a little cliche to some people, but I enjoyed it. It was a nice little touch there to add character dynamic and in the game, which I personally enjoyed. I enjoyed that little part of it. And overall, I did enjoy this game. I don't know if I'll ever go back and play the free play. If I ever get the chance, I probably will. At least they do the Adam West missions. But overall, I enjoyed the game. It was another solid Lego game. And even for somebody who's not huge into Batman in the DC universe, I was able to enjoy it and have a good time with it. So definitely this one probably about 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10. Solid game. If you can get it at a cheap price, either on Steam or on PS Plus or whatever, I'd recommend you play it. It's pretty good. And play the other two as well. I don't know why it's called Lego Batman 3. I don't have 2 or 1 or any more after that, if there's any more, but who knows. But yeah, that's my game review. Content's again going to be a little bit sparse for just a little bit longer. Got some big things coming up though, guys, so just stay tuned. I'm getting kind of back into the grind. Some big things just ended, and exams are coming up, but so I just got to study for those and then get into it. So stay tuned for much more amazing content. It will be coming. Just be patient. You guys are awesome. Until next time, join the Discord. You can talk to me there. And I will see you guys here in the next video. Goodbye.